The landlord leaned back in his chair, grease on his fingers, laughing at me. "I'm the landlord," he said. "I can do whatever I want." What he didn't know was that with one letter and one fake deal, I had just cost him his next tenant and left him stuck with a 100-ton bank vault he could never remove. Everyone knows landlords can be difficult, but residential landlords? They're amateurs. Commercial landlords are a different species entirely. They don't threaten eviction, they threaten your livelihood. They don't argue, they squeeze. And when they smell desperation, they lean in hard. Back in the 1990s, I rented office space in a commercial building downtown. I was a subtenant sharing space with an older lawyer named Aaron, sharp mind, old school habits, Rolodex thicker than a phone book, and our landlord, a bully. The kind of man who enjoyed reminding people he held the keys, literally in commercial leases. Landlords don't need court orders to lock you out. If they don't like you, if they feel slighted, if they want leverage, they just change the locks. You find out when your key doesn't work. And this guy loved reminding tenants of that. In the basement of our building was a restaurant called The Vault. It wasn't just a name. Before the restaurant existed, the space had been a bank. A real one. And sitting right in the middle of the dining area was a massive steel vault, dating back to before World War II. This thing was monstrous. 100 tons of reinforced steel. Rows of old safety deposit boxes gleaming under dim lights. They'd built tables inside it. You could eat surrounded by cold steel history. It was unforgettable. I used to eat there for lunch. And one afternoon, the owner pulled me aside. "The landlord's driving me insane," he said. I snorted. That's his full-time job, but this was different. He showed me a letter the landlord had served him that morning. Page after page of charges, snow removal, parking lot repairs, flooring, common area expenses, some of them dating back years. And at the bottom, the familiar threat: pay up or I change the locks. "He's demanding all this extra rent," the owner said. "And he knows I'm moving the restaurant." That's when it clicked. This wasn't about maintenance. This was about extraction. The landlord knew the restaurant was leaving and wanted to squeeze every last dollar out before they went. Then the owner told me about the vault. "The lease says I have to remove it," he said quietly, "and restore the space to how it was before the vault existed." I actually laughed until I realized he wasn't joking. Removing a 100-ton vault would cost a fortune? Restoring the building? Even more. "If I leave it," he said, "the landlord says he'll sue." I told him to send me the lease. When I read it, my stomach dropped. This lease was a Frankenstein document, renewals of renewals, assignments stacked on assignments, dating back to just after World War II, when the bank first installed the vault. Somehow, the restaurant had inherited responsibility for removing it. Worse, there was a personal guarantee. If the restaurant defaulted, the owner himself, not just the company, was liable legally. The case was hopeless. Ethically, the landlord was a parasite. That's when my brain did something wonderful. I called the owner. "I'm screwed, right?" he asked. "Be honest." "I can save you," I said. "But it'll cost." He didn't hesitate. Within an hour, a certified check was on my desk. "Next stop, Aaron. I need a real estate agent," I told him. He squinted. "You buying?" "Nope." "Selling?" "Nope." He smiled slowly. "You pulling a stunt?" "Nothing illegal," I said. He flipped through his Rolodex. "I know a guy, and Ron always knew a guy. I met the agent the next day." Explained exactly what I needed. He didn't ask questions, just nodded. A few days later, I was back at the vault for lunch. The owner looked pale. "The landlord's here?" he whispered. "Perfect," I said. We sat inside the vault room, thick steel door almost closed, drinking red wine, eating carbonara. I slid a document across the table. "We're making a demand." "For what?" "For everything," I said. "The equipment, the fixtures, and the vault?" He froze. "We demanding the landlord release the vault so you can take it to your new location." He stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "You think reverse psychology will work on him?" "We're about to find out," I said. The landlord had already received the demand. We walked over to his table. He was exactly what you'd expect: big, greasy, arrogant. eating lamb with his hands like the world owed him napkins. "I'm the restaurant's lawyer," I said calmly. "My client needs your answer today," he laughed. "Your client isn't getting the vault," feigning shock, I said. "I'll need that in writing." "Sue me," he sneered. "I don't care." That letter arrived that afternoon. The landlord claimed ownership of the vault, which was exactly what I needed. The restaurant moved out a month later, left everything behind, including the vault. A few weeks after that, Aaron cornered me. "The landlord's furious," he said. His deal fell through. Turns out a bank had been interested in leasing the space. But when they discovered the vault couldn't be removed, they walked. The landlord stormed into my office days later, face red, jowls shaking. "I know you set me up," he hissed. "You're welcome to sue," I said calmly. He never did. Because there was nothing to sue over. The offer he'd received? A non-binding letter of intent. No lease, no obligation. Just enough rope for a greedy man to hang himself. A year later, the basement was still empty. The vault untouched, a faded "for rent" sign in the window. The restaurant owner was free. No lawsuit. No vault removal, no financial ruin. The landlord? Stuck with a useless monument to his own arrogance. There was no shouting victory, no dramatic confrontation. Just silence, vacancy, and consequences. The best revenge isn't loud. It's permanent. Bullies rely on fear. Greed relies on impatience. And sometimes justice doesn't come from fighting harder. It comes from letting someone's own nature finish the job for you. If this story scratched that justice itch, hit like, subscribe for more true stories where arrogance meets consequences. And tell me in the comments what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed. See you in the next one.